The hardest person to impress is often the one staring back in the mirror. History proves something unsettling: even the greatest minds struggled to see their own brilliance. Leonardo da Vinci once dismissed much of his work as failure. Nikola Tesla died believing he had wasted his life. Greatness, it seems, is blind to itself. And Sigma men are no exception. They move through life carrying qualities others would trade kingdoms for, yet they treat those gifts like loose change. To the outside world, they appear untouchable, men of rare strength and mystery. But in their own eyes, they're just patching leaks in a roof no one else even notices. It's almost ironic. Everyone else is whispering about how extraordinary he is, while the Sigma man is busy questioning whether he tightened the metaphorical screws enough. He's the genius who builds a spaceship but complains the cup holders aren't straight. This isn't humility, it's blindness. A kind of tunnel vision that keeps them from recognizing the empire they've already built. And that's exactly why today, we're pulling back the curtain on why Sigma men can't see their own greatness, the brutal, fascinating truths that will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about the way these men exist. Number 1, they redefine greatness faster than they achieve it. By the time a Sigma man reaches one definition of greatness, he's already dismantled it and moved the goalpost further ahead. That's the paradox of his life. He doesn't pause long enough to realize he's already standing where most people only dream of being. It's not that he refuses to feel proud, it's that pride can't keep pace with the speed of his evolution. The moment he breaks through a ceiling, he convinces himself the ceiling was too low to begin with. What the world sees as rare and extraordinary, he quietly shrinks down to not enough. This endless shifting of the finish line means he rarely feels the weight of his own achievements. To him, life isn't a destination, it's a staircase with no final step, only the next climb. Where most would plant a flag and celebrate, he's already scanning the horizon for the next battle. To outsiders, it looks like relentless ambition. But for him, it's simply his way of existing, not glory-seeking, but constantly redefining what enough means. That restlessness creates the illusion of inadequacy. He isn't chasing greatness because he lacks it. He's chasing because his definition refuses to stay still. Every milestone shrinks in his rearview mirror. He might master a skill, earn respect, or achieve something extraordinary, but almost immediately, he reduces it to step 1. The ladder he climbs never feels like progress because with every rung he ascends, he builds 10 more above himself. This mindset cuts both ways. On one hand, it makes him unstoppable, someone who never settles, never stagnates, never allows his potential to calcify. But on the other hand, it blinds him. To the world, he is living proof of greatness. Yet to himself, he feels like a man who hasn't even started. He doesn't see the empire he's already built because he's too busy sketching blueprints for the next one. That's why Sigma men often live in quiet contradiction, admired by others, unsatisfied within themselves. The greatness everyone else sees is never the greatness they see. Because by the time they touch it, they've already outgrown it. In chasing the future version of themselves, they forget to recognize the remarkable man they already are. Number 2, they treat the extraordinary as ordinary. Sigma men are blind to their own greatness because what sets them apart feels normal to them. The way they think, problem solve, and move through life comes so naturally that they assume anyone could do it if they tried. To them, their abilities aren't remarkable, they're just baseline. What others see as brilliance, they dismiss as just how my mind works. It's like having a rare talent encoded into their DNA, but assuming it's a default setting everyone shares. This mindset creates a strange invisibility. While others quietly admire them, the Sigma man treats his gifts like background noise. He doesn't notice how effortlessly he navigates situations, makes clear decisions, and carries himself with a calm presence that unsettles even confident people. To him, it feels like nothing worth celebrating. Because it feels effortless, he assumes it must be common. That assumption blinds him to how rare he truly is. Most people crave validation, chase trends, and lean on groups for direction. Sigma men bypass all of that without even thinking. What feels like breathing to him is suffocatingly difficult for others. But he doesn't see the gap, so he downplays the impact. He doesn't notice how others recalibrate themselves in his presence. He doesn't realize his independence becomes a silent lesson for those around him. He doesn't recognize that what feels natural to him is unattainable for most. And that's the irony. The very reason Sigma men underestimate themselves, their refusal to glorify what feels ordinary, is the exact reason others admire them. Their tendency to treat the exceptional as everyday life makes them stand out, even if they'll never fully see it themselves. Number 3, they don't trust external mirrors. Another reason Sigma men struggle to see their greatness is simple: they don't trust external mirrors. To them, other people's opinions rarely feel like truth. Praise feels slanted, exaggerated, or driven by hidden motives. When someone admires them, they question it. Is it flattery? Projection? Manipulation? Because of this, even genuine recognition slides right off them. This mistrust doesn't stem from arrogance but from experience. They've seen how easily people bend words, exaggerate compliments, or filter opinions through bias. One person calls them inspiring, another calls them cold. Both can't be true, so they decide neither is worth believing. In stripping themselves of mirrors, they lose their ability to see what others see so clearly. Ironically, those on the outside often have a sharper view of their impact than they do. A single word, a subtle gesture, even their presence can shift an entire environment. But because they're living inside the action, Sigma men can't view themselves from that outside angle. Instead, they retreat deeper into their own self-judgment. And their self-judgment is ruthless, rarely leaving space for acknowledgement or admiration. Without a trusted mirror, they become blind to their reflection. They convince themselves greatness is something other people talk about, not something that belongs to them. What they fail to see is that not every mirror is warped. Sometimes, consistent echoes from people with no agenda are genuine reflections of their influence. But until they learn to accept even fragments of that truth, they'll continue staring into empty glass, blind to the greatness others can't stop noticing. Number 4, they hide their fire to protect others. Sigma men often dim their light, not out of insecurity, but out of empathy. Their brilliance can be intense, even overwhelming, so they instinctively soften it to avoid intimidating others or sparking resentment. It's a conscious choice, shine less brightly so others don't feel small. But in hiding their fire from others, they begin to blur their own vision of greatness. The very qualities that make them extraordinary, clarity of thought, depth of insight, unwavering focus, become muted, treated as ordinary, even by themselves. They start believing their fire is excessive, something to contain rather than celebrate. The brilliance that could inspire and transform is confined to quiet, private moments. By pulling back, they reinforce a smaller version of themselves, one that feels cautious instead of powerful. The world still notices their light, but to the Sigma man, it feels like nothing special. His effort to protect others blinds him to his own impact. He forgets that his fire isn't a threat, it's his identity. Every time he dims himself, he strengthens the illusion that his natural state is too much. But the truth is, when wielded with balance, his fire doesn't overshadow, it illuminates. The tragedy is that Sigma men can live their entire lives inside their own brilliance without ever stepping fully into it. Until they allow themselves to burn unapologetically, to embrace that their light can coexist with the world instead of threatening it, they will continue to underestimate the very greatness that defines them. Number 5, they turn admiration into pressure. For Sigma men, admiration rarely feels like recognition, it feels like responsibility. Instead of absorbing respect as validation, they interpret it as weight. Every compliment becomes an expectation, every nod of acknowledgement a demand. Don't falter. Don't slip. Keep proving yourself. What the world sees as honor feels to them like shackles. This isn't arrogance. It's an acute sense of accountability. To a Sigma male, respect is not a medal to wear but an unspoken contract to uphold standards often undefined, shifting, and nearly impossible to satisfy. While others marvel at their quiet dominance, sharp insight, or effortless skill, the Sigma man quietly tallies obligations in his mental ledger. Victories become checkpoints, not destinations. Over time, this creates an internal pressure cooker. They live as though an invisible audience is watching, measuring them with every step. Instead of pride, admiration produces anxiety, an endless reminder that they must always deliver. Ironically, the very praise meant to highlight their brilliance blinds them to it. To the world, they're exceptional. To themselves, they're just holding the line, always at risk of falling short. Number 6, they outgrow their own achievements too quickly. Another reason Sigma men fail to see their greatness is their inability to linger in achievement. What others view as monumental victories, promotions, breakthroughs, or personal triumphs, feel temporary and unfinished to them. By the time applause reaches their ears, they've already moved on to the next challenge. For most people, a single milestone defines a career. For Sigma men, it's just another stepping stone. Their restless evolution fuels their drive, innovation, and problem-solving, but it also blinds them to the magnitude of what they've already built. They constantly measure themselves against an ever-expanding horizon. As a result, external validation falls flat. While the world sees trophies, awards, or accolades, the Sigma man sees preparation, just groundwork for something greater. It creates a paradox. They appear indifferent to recognition, yet inside, they feel the burden of always pushing forward. The cost is psychological exhaustion, a gnawing sense of incompleteness. Still, it's this very mindset, never settling, always climbing, that separates them from the ordinary. Their greatness exists in motion, always one step ahead of celebration. Number 7, they see their flaws under a microscope. Sigma men can't see their greatness because their attention is fixed on the cracks rather than the sculpture. Every mistake, flaw, or shortcoming is studied with surgical precision, long after others have forgotten it. Where most people see brilliance, they see imperfection magnified under a microscope. It's not self-loathing, it's obsession. They demand mastery in every detail, and any deviation becomes the focus. Even monumental victories are overshadowed by small errors in execution. Their reality is filtered through perfectionism, where failures are magnified and successes minimized. Ironically, this relentless scrutiny is what makes them exceptional. It drives constant refinement, discipline, and evolution. But the price is blindness to their own brilliance. While the world admires the masterpiece, Sigma men keep staring at the fissures, convinced it's incomplete. Until they learn to zoom out, to see the whole creation, they will live in quiet brilliance, never acknowledging what others see so clearly. Number 8, they mistake ease for worthlessness. One of the cruelest paradoxes of Sigma psychology is this: what comes naturally to them feels worthless. Whether it's reading people, solving complex problems, or mastering a skill effortlessly, they dismiss it as ordinary. If greatness doesn't require struggle, they assume it can't possibly be valuable. To a Sigma male, worth is measured in sacrifice, sweat, and pain. When success arrives with fluid ease, they label it insignificant, even if it's extraordinary. What others admire as rare instinct, precision, or creative brilliance, they treat as baseline. Because it feels simple to them, they assume it must be simple for everyone else. But effortless mastery is often more impressive than hard-earned victory. It speaks to a deeper intelligence, intuition, and alignment. The Sigma man embodies this mastery daily, yet discounts it entirely. His greatest gifts become invisible simply because they didn't demand a struggle. This misperception is a trap. By equating effort with value, Sigma men undermine their own uniqueness. The irony is that what makes them extraordinary, the clarity, intuition, speed of thought, and instinctive control, is exactly what they overlook. Their greatness is hidden in plain sight, dismissed by the very person who embodies it. Number 9, they fight invisible wars. Sigma men often fail to recognize their own greatness because their defining battles happen in silence, with no audience and no applause. The struggles that shape their resilience, fear, doubt, exhaustion, and moral tests, are hidden from the outside world. They have faced trials so private and intense that no one else could possibly understand the effort it took to survive them. And because these victories leave behind no trophies or visible scars, they often dismiss them as if they don't count. Here lies the paradox: the world sees composure, decisiveness, and confidence, while what it admires is the byproduct of unseen battles. Every calm response, every measured decision, every display of strength is built upon wars no one witnessed. Yet the Sigma man rarely acknowledges these as evidence of greatness. To him, they feel like ordinary outcomes, while the extraordinary effort behind them goes unrecognized. The absence of witnesses deepens this blindness. Human beings are wired to validate success through recognition, but Sigma men bypass that need. Their independence is strength, but it also obscures the scale of their own victories. If no one claps, they convince themselves the win wasn't real. And yet, these inner wars are what give them unmatched depth, resilience, and influence. Ironically, the very invisibility of their battles creates the quiet mystique others find magnetic. Until Sigma men learn to honor their silent victories, they will continue to underestimate their greatness, even though it is exactly what makes them extraordinary. Number 10, they don't recognize their own aura. Perhaps the most overlooked reason Sigma men fail to see their greatness is that they don't recognize the aura they naturally carry. To them, their quiet presence feels ordinary. Yet to others, it is magnetic. Their silence commands attention. Their composure radiates confidence. Their gaze can disarm, inspire, or unsettle. What feels like just existing to them profoundly influences everyone around them. They underestimate this because they live inside their own heads, focused inward, analyzing, observing, solving. They're rarely aware of how much their mere presence shapes the energy of a room. Their calm in crisis, their stillness in tension, their subtle dominance in interaction, all of it feels normal to them, but extraordinary to others. Ironically, their lack of awareness amplifies their magnetism. They don't try to impress, dominate, or manipulate, and that authenticity creates an even stronger pull. The Sigma man doesn't notice the gravitational force he exerts because it comes so naturally. To him, it feels like nothing. To the world, it feels unforgettable. Until he learns to recognize that his aura is part of his greatness, he will continue living in the paradox of being ordinary to himself but extraordinary to everyone else. Number 11, they are addicted to self-repair. Sigma men live in constant self-reconstruction. They're addicted to refining every skill, habit, and trait, rarely stopping to appreciate progress. Greatness feels foreign because they always see themselves as unfinished. While others celebrate, Sigma men focus on flaws no one else notices. Compliments don't sink in, because their first thought is, could I have done better? Ironically, this relentless drive is what makes them extraordinary. Yet their tunnel vision keeps them from seeing the masterpiece they've already built. In chasing perfection, they overlook the fact that they already embody it. Number 12, they fear arrogance like a disease. Sigma men downplay their greatness because arrogance feels like poison to them. Their self-awareness is so sharp that even a hint of pride feels like a dangerous step toward vanity. Instead of embracing success, they overcorrect, convincing themselves they're average or flawed. This isn't false modesty, it's self-protection. They know unchecked ego can damage relationships or create conflict, so they deny themselves the recognition they deserve. The irony is, this humility makes them even more magnetic. The world sees quiet confidence and strength. They see only a man guarding against conceit. Until they learn that healthy self-acknowledgement isn't arrogance, Sigma men will keep underestimating themselves, blind to the rare power they already carry. Final words. Sigma men often cannot see their own greatness because they are constantly evolving, endlessly self-critiquing, and quietly fighting battles no one else sees. Their victories feel invisible, their talents feel ordinary, and their presence feels unremarkable to them. Yet to the world, they are forces of influence, resilience, and mastery. Their blindness is, paradoxically, part of what makes them so extraordinary. Greatness that doesn't crave recognition, doesn't beg for applause, and doesn't pause for validation is greatness in its purest form. Sigma men may never fully grasp their own impact, but the world feels it. They are quiet revolutions in motion, masterpieces that refuse to see themselves as art. If this perspective opened your eyes to the paradox of Sigma men, don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more insights like this.